Many times, microcap investors can't decide or can't find a stock that gives them growth or profit. You're having to choose. Do I want more growth? Do I want more profit? Do I want a profitable stock? Do I want a growing stock? The stock I'm talking about today is giving us both. NTG Clarity Networks is starting to hit everybody's watch list, up 85% in the past year, up 62% in 2024. As always, I'm going to talk to you about the stock, the company, tell you about the recent updates that's driving their share price up, and talk about the rewards and the risk. You are watching Common Sense Investing. My name is Cameron. Let's go find a great penny stock. Do not forget, nothing in this video is financial advice. I like providing information on these companies, so hopefully you could make a better decision yourself. It does help me to have a great group of investors behind me. Down below in the pinned comment, I will link to my free Discord and my paid Patreon, where a whole bunch of other people are looking for great microcaps just like NTG. Now, the fun part for me covering NTG Clarity Networks today at 6.5 cents Canadian share price is I was previously covering them at 3-cent share price. So this has been a huge growing stock for this channel. I hope a lot of people have made money on this. And one of the reasons was the rapid annual revenue growth chart. So even though people were not valuing the stock for any growth, the company was coming out and saying that we are getting exponential growth. They've been proving it for the past 6 or 7 earnings or so, and I just couldn't ignore that. They did previously have a lot of red flags that I was looking at, but when I asked myself, what can change with this company that would drive up the share price and make shareholders money? It was pretty obvious. The company just looked different. They recently updated their investor presentation to December of 2023. I will link down below in the pinned comment to my video where I go through this presentation. And I noted that the company, after 7 years of not marketing themselves, was starting to come out and talk and provide interviews. So when I research stocks, I usually tell people, start with the company, let the company tell you why they think you should invest in them. And with NTG Clarity, they're talking about new management, which was becoming obvious. Sector expansion, new offshore model has resulted in never before seen growth. Is that true? And in my opinion, the answer was yes. After coming from basically nothing, I improved their earnings up to 2.5 stars. This company was changing, they were showing impressive growth, and they're profitable. Nobody was looking at them at the time. That's why share price was 3 cents. And I thought, there's potential here. This could be a turtle with a rocket on its back. Where can NTG Clarity Networks go? Well, 6.5 cents Canadian, as I'm looking at this right now, up 8%. Why? Well, here are their earnings so far. 2021, they had 11.8 million in revenue. 2022, they had 17.6 million in revenue. And so far in 2023, 19.5 million in revenue after 3 quarters. And that was really, really good. And net income for NTG. So after 3 quarters, 19.5 million in revenue. It was expected they were going to get about $26 to $27 million of revenue in 2023. That's really impressive for such a small company, but they just came out with guidance in 2024. What is it? NTG Clarity announces a $50 million revenue target for 2024. So after reporting maybe 26 or 27 million in 2023, which is still impressive growth, they are saying $50 million with an estimated gross margin of 40%. So some tidbits of information here. In 2022, they only had $17 million of revenue, but that is nice 45% recurring revenue. There is some country risk because a lot of the revenue is coming from the Middle East. They've recently expanded into Iraq. But if you look at what they're promising here now, I mean, the growth into 2023 was really good, and they're saying that is only going to increase through 2024. That's impressive. And even better, this is not speculation according to the company. So they're saying that they have current work on hand of $40 million, the majority of which is expected to be completed in 2024. So they have contracts in hand. They know roughly what they're going to get for revenue. This puts them well on their path to reach their 2024 revenue target of $50 million with a targeted bottom line profit of 10% of that $50 million. Again, the company keeps repeating themselves, ensuring that investors get hammered with these numbers over and over and over, saying that they have 2 focuses for 2024, continuing the growth trajectory, target of $50 million, and then driving further profitability. Their bottom line profit margin target is 10%. Now, one little statement that is snuck in here is that with this increased profitability, management looks forward to paying down existing liabilities and improving the company's balance sheet. So expect that to happen as they increase their profit per share. And then, after what is considered all this good news, the company then announces a reverse split 5-to-1. If you own 5 shares previously, you are now going to own 1 share. And typically, this is seen as bearish. Usually, a company that does a reverse split like this is doing this because they're getting delisted off the NASDAQ, or there's some other reason, some red flag for this company that investors, shareholders should be worried about. But in this case with NTG Clarity, I'm not sure that's the case. One of the things I'm going to be talking about is they're going to go from 187 million shares to 37.5 million shares. That's going to become important because, okay, not financial advice, but in my opinion, right now, let's stop. What are the risks of NTG Clarity Networks? What are the rewards? Let's start with some numbers. So they're targeting 10% net income margins. They're expected to get then possibly $5 million of net income on $50 million of revenue in 2024. That is about 2.66 cents per share before this 5-to-1 consolidation in shares. After the 5-to-1 consolidation, that's about 13.3 pennies in earnings per share after consolidation with 37.5 million shares. Right now, they're sitting at 6.5 cents Canadian. That's about a $12.1 million market cap Canadian, right? This gives NTG Clarity Networks a forward PDE of about 2.41 and a forward price to sales of about 0.24. That is even lower than what they're sitting at today, and in my opinion, could be undervalued. So some of the green flags as I see it recently with this company is new management is really making some changes. There's improved communication. They have a video describing all these changes. I will link to that down below in the pinned comment. So better communication from management. The company is profitable, right? This isn't a company that's burning through cash and needs your help, right? That's not why they have a reverse split. They're a high growth, profitable company that is potentially undervalued. There's still risk with every company, every stock, right? Do not forget that. There's still risk here, some history risk. So the company's been in operation for a long time, right? They haven't done anything in like a couple decades. So we have to see it to believe it a little bit when there's change like this, when there's so much change. So there is some history risk. There's some country risk because they're in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iraq, and that also brings in some currency risk. So even though this is what they're telling us they can achieve, and we potentially have to put some trust in management that they know what they're doing when they're giving out numbers like this, there is some chances here where something could happen in that part of the world, and then NTG falls below that guidance. So my final thoughts is that I like what NTG Clarity Networks is doing here. So I spoke to Adam back at Christmas. One of the things that we discussed is at the time, they were a 3-cent stock, which is too high of a risk for a lot of people going after those tiny little penny stocks. And they had 187 million shares, which is a lot of shares. That scares a lot of people off. Microcap investors that are looking for a low float, they're simply not going to look at NTG Clarity. So with this share consolidation now, you're going to be looking at a company that's about 25, 30, 35 cents per share on 37.5 million shares with 45% ownership from insiders. That sounds pretty nice. This is a profitable company with 100% potential growth in revenue expected in 2024 and potentially not being shown in their current valuations. So, and overall, even though there's some risk, again, please go do your own research. There's some debt that's owed to the owners. There could potentially be a bit of share dilution, pay down some of that debt in the future. I am increasing my star count again from 2.5 stars to 3.5 stars for NTG Clarity Networks. Their full year earnings are expected out in about a month. I can't wait to cover them. You've been watching Common Sense Investing. Thank you for your time.